Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca with your live Pinpoint Doppler 12 Futurecast.
Well, certainly a lot of weather to track and get through over the next couple of days. Of course, we'll talk more about Joaquin in just a second, but now more on the weather that's ahead of Joaquin. A separate system coming through now with rain and wind. Take a look at live Pinpoint Doppler 12 radar, and the coverage really starting to expand here, so nothing scattered. Widespread rain. This will continue into tomorrow night, even into Saturday. The amounts perhaps not as heavy as what we had yesterday, but still some widespread rain, and the wind picking up as well, especially along the coastline. Again, not directly associated with Joaquin, but another system. So for tonight, threat tracker still in the low category, but by tomorrow and Saturday, with the rain picking up as well as the wind speeds, especially across the coastline, we're looking at more wet weather. Perhaps 1 to 2 inches of rain spread out over a 36-hour period, actually 48-hour period. 35, 40, 45 mile-per-hour gusts across the coastline. Very, very windy. And the large surf, the rips, and the swells will increase as a Joaquin that will eventually make the trek off the east coast. Even with a hurricane that's well out at sea, you still get a lot of the wave energy that can travel hundreds of miles towards the coastline. Hurricane Barry and Providence, cloudy skies and light rain right now. Temperatures have been holding in the mid-50s. This will be the primary wind direction next several days, east-northeast, and those wind speeds will be picking up. Seacock now coming in with rain and a temperature at 54. Here's the satellite and radar composite, and we're actually tracking a stalled front offshore, and this will kind of drift towards the coastline, so it'll be the focus for some widespread heavier rain and eventually these gusty east and northeasterly winds along the coastline. May be blowing the rain sideways at times. Get a closer look at Hurricane Joaquin, the state of Florida, and just a well-organized storm right now. You can see the eye right about in here. It's drifting very slowly. Again, the last check, the winds of 130 miles per hour. We do expect the next advisory from the Hurricane Center at 11 o'clock this evening. This orange represents the size of the wind field, which is fairly large, and the track next 3 to 5 days, taking it to the north, weakening it to a tropical storm, no longer a hurricane, in this position by either late Monday or Tuesday just offshore. Now remember, a couple of days ago, the track was back here towards the Chesapeake Bay. So we continue to see the trend of each consecutive computer model run pulling it further and further to the right, further and further to the east. Now, if this trend continues, it's not out of the question that the storm itself completely moves out to sea and is not a hit at all. I certainly don't want to write the storm off, but that option is on the table. But being this is still 4 or 5 days down the road, the yellow cone, that represents the region of uncertainty. So while this is the forecast track, it can deviate as far as west as here, or as far east as well out to sea. So a lot of uncertainty. So that's why I want to come back over the next couple of days and check the further forecast. At least the good news is that by the time it gets here, if at all, it would weaken to a tropical storm. But even a storm, a hurricane or a tropical storm offshore can produce high surf, rip currents, and big swells offshore. We actually have computer projections, computer models that can predict wave height over the next several days. Watch how the numbers creep up, and you can see the yellow and orange. These are huge, massive waves offshore, but that wave energy can travel hundreds of miles towards the coastline. That energy comes against the coast, big surf at area beaches, high risk of rip currents, big swells, perhaps even some beach erosion, even with the storm out at sea. So something to watch. We could see scenes like this in a couple of days along the South Shore, even with a hurricane that is far out at sea. Futurecast for this evening and overnight. It just shows more rain working in. Watch the clock. It will advance things to tomorrow morning, and you can see widespread rain. Temperatures, it'll be a raw day, kind of chilly, staying in the 50s all day long, but you throw in that strong gusty wind, wind chills will be running in the 40s. Rain and wind both Saturday and Sunday, not associated with Joaquin, at least not directly. The real wild card here is late Monday into Tuesday when the storm makes its closest pass. Still a lot of uncertainty, so check back with us. But right now, at least some fringe effects from the storm, at least as far as a tropical storm, with temperatures between roughly 60 and 65 degrees. Still a lot of uncertainty 4 or 5 days down the road. So again, check back with us.
All right, Tony, thanks. And there's much more to come on